Hello, guys. Welcome back to part two. I kind of wanted you guys to show this kind of. I kind of been going, doing every other day. I've been training her. I'm trying to get a more a real realistic results. Someone just ordinary kind of getting into it. It might not be every other day. It might be 2 or 3 times a week. So technically she's probably getting about 4 times a week, working out anywhere between 4 to 3 times a week. And but I wanted to show you guys this part, especially once dogs start to understand. She might kind of not do it just because the neighbor's dog is kind of right at the fence line, and she's kind of looking at him. But let's see if we can get her attention. Come on, girl. Come on, let's go. Good baby. Good girl. Hold on, girl. Hold on. Hold on. Just wait. Hold on. There you go. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. I kind of missed the opportunity with getting her in on the first shot because I got this thing swinging right in my face. But yeah, I know a lot of people struggle with clipping on or putting on the harness, especially during the first time. That's kind of how I do it. I kind of let them kind of come into it, and then I kind of, as soon as they're kind of coming in, whether they're in a crate or in a kennel, I kind of just, as soon as they come in, I kind of have it out, and they're kind of already kind of know the routine because I do this with all my dogs, even as puppies, whatever it is, they already know like they're gonna go into the harness. Let me see. Oh yeah, I had to switch views on the camera. I didn't know I had zoomed in a little bit. Come on, girl. I mean, first things first, usually I bring them out when I'm going to do this. Right before I walk them, make sure they use the bathroom. Make sure they use the bathroom. Come on. For the most part, things like this, like for example, when you have dogs, let's say like your neighbor's dogs or stuff like that, it used to kind of somewhat bother me. I mean, it still kind of does, but not really. Because at the end of the day, it does help. Like, you're gonna have these type of distractions out in the real world, right? When you're out competing, sometimes people don't read the room or don't really pay attention, and can cause your dog to kind of lose focus of what they're kind of doing. And if you don't kind of put your dog in certain controlled situations, eventually you're going to face uncontrolled situations where it's going to be in an uncontrolled environment. So I usually like to have these tests every once in a while. And it can be harder for like a new handler that's not familiar with these types of situations. But for the most part, if you look at her, it was just that first time she kind of wanted to. I mean, you can still see she tries, and she's listening to, kind of trying to pay attention to them. But for whatever reason, I'm not sure. Like, it's just like, I don't know if it's just me doing it over the years. That these little small corrections, like verbal, or it could just be even like, having a tighter hand on the lead. Maybe they read it. But for the most part, like, they start to learn that when they're in the harness, they can't do certain things. And I kind of like this. Of course, like I said, for a new handler, this might be a very stressful, very stressful environment or test for them, right? But and it could be, obviously the dog might just feel that it's not really a big deal with me, because like I said, I have done this, and obviously I have my neighbor's dogs have put me through to a test where I have to stay calm and kind of work through things. And I've done this in the past, even before I put my dogs in certain situations so I can kind of guide them through that, and trying to not run into issues when we're out in the real world. So you might see a little bit of hesitation or kind of, stop and goes more because they are close to the fence. But for the most part, my neighbors do a good job when they hear them barking and they know I'm back here. They do tend to call them. So you probably will see them come and go, and it's just, they call them and they get their attention. All right, baby, come on, let's go. Good girl, come on. Good girl, good girl. Good girl. As you see, she's kind of wary. I think it's more because of the situation. It's not because of the weight, because it's been the same weight. But the important thing is just to kind of keep going. I mean, the dogs, they're not going to cross over or nothing. They're just barking. If anything, when you're at a show, you will have a lot of dogs barking anytime. Whoa, good baby. Good baby. Good baby. And eventually, like I said, eventually they will learn to kind of ignore the dogs, which is always very good. The more, like you said, you put your dogs to certain situations and you teach them properly, they tend to understand. Now this one, just because of the dogs themselves, she might switch over on this side just because she tries to avoid them. Come on, girl. You see, she came on this side. Come on, good girl. Come on, mama. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Come on. Good baby. There you go. Come on. Good girl. That's my girl. Good girl. Come on. Good baby. Good girl. Good girl. Now she tries to go over. Come on. Come on. Come on. Whoa. Good girl. And this is all just part of training, right? I mean, realistically, we would all wish that there's nothing, like it's just basically training and go. But just like in any type of dog sport, you train for scenarios, and this is one of them. I mean, it's controlled. Like I said, she shows, obviously, if I were not to kind of put her into situations, there might be a situation where she kind of tries to come off the track or stuff like that. I mean, dogs are dogs, and at the end of the day, there ain't nobody to blame for training besides ourselves. Good girl. But like I said, my neighbors are pretty good. They'll usually call their dogs back and when they hear, because they know either if I'm just walking, they don't mind, but once they hear them for a long period of time, it's probably because I'm out here training, and they tend to call them. Good girl. She's coming along pretty nicely. One thing I have learned, watch out, you're gonna scratch me. One thing I have learned is that older dogs do tend to pick up a lot faster than any puppy, right? I mean, puppies do require a little bit, a more finessing, and it's, that's why sometimes people say, well, I'm gonna choose these pups depending on how they take to it, right? But like, as you guys can see, like I said, Yuma's probably been, what was it? I think I did it on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and today's Saturday. So she has, just a couple of days of her doing this, and she gets it pretty quickly. I mean, obviously she's a grown dog. She understands already somewhat verbal commands that I've had her, just some basic stuff. So it's not like she doesn't understand, unlike a puppy, it's like you're dealing with a child, like a baby. They're not going to understand what you're doing. They're just going to go along with it because they think, oh, this is fun. But yeah, that's one thing I have learned, and like I said, I'm trying to get more realistic results, because I could put her through the pace and kind of giving her more consistent training, and probably make everything faster, but this is just kind of like a process that I kind of want to go with you guys, and make sure you guys are a part of it as well, and give you guys some tips and kind of like a realistic outlook of what to kind of expect if you do it with patience and take your time with it. You ready for another one? All right, come on. And it, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like none of this is perfect. Like we some of the best of us always have issues. Like there's nobody, if somebody tells you they have the answer for everything, man, I could tell you I don't know. But I've talked to so many people, and sometimes takes a couple people to solve something, or to just kind of remind somebody, like, oh man, that you're right about that, because we all do go through that. Whoa, good girl. We all go through stuff like that, and then we all learn a bunch of stuff, and even though we might have learned it at some point, we do forget things. Just like some of us learn to be nice, but we forget. Good, you. Come on. Now you see when the dogs aren't there barking. I mean, she's obviously looking back, but for the most part, she's back to her normal flow. Good girl. And this is easy. Like it's not. I see a lot of times, like on the boards, people, the first thing is, how much should my dog be pulling? How much weight? What should be the percentage? Whoa. And there's not like a real answer to that. At least not the way I think. Right? It's like you can't get two grown adults and expect them to do, go work out, expect them to have the same percentage in any kind of a let's say lifting, power lifting, or just lifting weights, free weight lifting. You can't set expectations for, just like you can't set expectations for a human. You can't set expectations and think, one shoe fits all kind of thing. You have to determine that by the dog's will. And I mean, and at the beginning, it should just be more repetitive and help the dog understand this is what we're doing, and not make the dog feel like it becomes a chore instead of something that something they start to kind of dislike because of the pressure you're putting on them. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I've done it. I think a lot of the competitors have done it, whether they might acknowledge it or not. I mean, unfortunately, it takes time for you to understand dogs and how to help them overcome this, because it is like a mental game when it comes to pulling weights. Pulling this. It's just making that mind in there strong and making them believe like they're these little unstoppable things, right, baby? Yeah, I know. Well, we'll see. I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys are getting something out of it. Come on, baby. See, and all I do is just kind of turn her, and that's kind of what we do. And I was on the topic of the weight. I mean, like I said, this is more repetitive. This is more just for her confidence, getting her used to something, something she's never done. And I mean, she's 4 years old, so at the end of the day, it's not like she's done physical work. So I'm making sure that her body starts to move in certain ways, like she's used to certain pressure. And it's not like we're putting a lot of pressure. Ooh, but I want to make sure she's comfortable with understanding, how the body feels, or how her body feels when we're doing this type of work. you know. Because I know when I was a kid and if I bench 80 pounds, 95 pounds, I know the next day my chest was burning. So I always assume dogs are just like humans. I mean, any animal would be, you know, they would be sore, especially something they're kind of not used to ever doing. But I could tell you she does enjoy doing things together. Right, girl? All right, let's go. Good girl, let's work. Come on. Good baby. And like I said, she'll probably do this anywhere between a month to a month and a half, depending on how she comes along. Yeah, depending on how she comes along, I'll end up increasing and putting window weights. I'll show you guys in a moment what window weights are. And why it's one of the reasons why you can't tell somebody what to expect. Ooh, as in percentage of how much weight they should be putting. Yeah. Good baby. So I'm gonna show you guys, see if you guys can see this. I'm gonna try to get down a little bit lower. So I'm not sure, now you guys probably can't see it, but I'm not, this is literally almost, some parts of it is like, you know, very thin dirt, sand, I should say sand. Like if you look here, there's already a whole like, and this is just from the first pass that we did when I set the chain when we first started. And I'm gonna take this window weight to show you guys. For example, if you see how that sits in there, like for example, imagine if I told somebody, if I told somebody they had the same type of same type of surface as I did, and somebody says, well, you know, you should start a dog at I don't know, 20% of their body weight, right? And for whatever reason they have some window weights, and you know, because that's sometimes what people recommend. Now imagine this right now, it's kind of wet, but when it's super dry, anybody that's came here and has worked dogs can tell you that this surface is is really I mean, people. I mean, you know, they do like it because it does put good resistance on the dog. Not so much as heavy weight, but for example, like you can see that. Let's say this is traveling down on next to a chain, and I mean, it starts to dig after more and more. Now think about having multiple window weights, and I don't usually put over 7. I want to say, usually it's around anywhere between obviously 1 to like I said 7, but usually it's around, you know, 4 or 5 maybe, depending on what we're doing. But just imagine multiple window weights, especially when it's not as wet and everything's super dry and it just kind of sand everywhere. These things will kind of sink in, right? They'll sink in and start leaving dips in the sand, and eventually sometimes these things, even the chains will be under the dirt, and that's just that resistance, that sand holding that back and putting a bunch of resistance on all that weight. She's just laying there. But yeah, it would just make it extremely hard. So that's why I always kind of like to make sure we're going through the process, and how it's very important, and not to get ahead of yourself, you know. It's always good people could think they could do, you know, the same thing as anyone else, but it's always important to keep in mind that you're not the one physically doing this. It's really coming down to the dog, and you as a handler need to be more realistic and just kind of set more realistic expectations for your dog. Come on, baby. Come on, girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. As you see, she's just kind of going with it. The most important thing is not to let them stop, right? Kind of always have them, and it's you can be lenient, especially during this stage. And whoa, but never let them stop, you know. And that's why it's important to make sure you're doing good girl. That's my baby. Good baby. It's important for you to make sure y'all build that confidence, you know. She's starting to get tired, but it's probably more of the humidity than anything. We're gonna start building those muscles. I wish I would have taken some actual photos of the before and then how she'll look here in maybe like 2.5 to 3 months. Ready? Come on. Let's work. Come on. Good baby. Good. Good girl. As you see, I mean, little by little, I do use the how to guide, you know, when to guide her with a leash. But for the most part, she's already understanding, like, you know, we're going straight. That's what he wants us to do. Oh, good girl. Go, baby. I really don't remember what rep this is, to be honest with you. I want to say this is the 3rd. So I might do one more, but I'm just, I'm going to cut off the video. I'm just going to do one more just in case. But yeah, I mean, like I said, good baby. Like I said, yeah, I mean, if you guys like these videos, make sure y'all comment, like and subscribe. I mean, you know, the more engagement I get, the better it is. If you guys have any questions how I do something, you know, leave it in the comments. Anything you guys would like me to touch on, because to be honest with you, I am that type of person that I sometimes forget. There is stuff that I do forget to mention, just because, like, I'm so always, like, I've been doing this for a couple years, you know, a good amount. And so I kind of always, especially for those that don't, you know, are new, they do have questions that, you know, that might seem like, oh, that's a simple answer, but in reality, it wasn't simple for us when we started. So, you know, if I miss something, you guys want me to touch up on something, you know, yeah, just leave a comment, or like I said, you know, make me aware of anything. You know, I'll probably be uploading a video of Cash soon, starting him on the spring pole, because I really want to work on different parts of his body too. You know, he's just kind of been doing this for about 1.5 years, and got to get other parts of him kind of getting strong as well to help him out with competition. But yeah, guys, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and like always, leave some comments, because I really do like to have that interaction with people. All right, guys, bye.